35 Masters players. Should be a good time.
Yeah, I think last
yeah.
time we had just around the same. We had 34, I think, until I dropped. You know, but it's around usually what we get. But it should be a great tournament. I've seen some interesting team sheets. I've seen some interesting Pokemon usages. I don't want to spoil anything, but you know, first match we're gonna see something pretty out there. But
Yeah. I think one thing to keep an eye on in the meta as we progress through this tournament is the Ogerpon Wellspring.
Mhm.
It has been picking up so much over these past couple of tournaments.
Oh, for sure.
It's overtaken Fluttermane on some of these day 2 usages. I was watching back.
Has?
It overtook Fluttermane. I was watching the
Oh,
Dortmund regional. Not only
wow.
has Ogerpon taken over, not only has Wellspring taken over Fluttermane, Urshifu Single Strike took over Wellspring.
Urshifu's single
over
strike is
Fluttermane
really
as well.
coming in a lot more than we would have expected.
I guess
It's
that's what
like-
happens when Iron Hands isn't around.
That's true. Iron Hands is not anywhere to be seen anymore because of the addition of Incineroar, and it's just like, with that, Urshifu's on Urshifu single strike's in a very comfortable spot right here.
Yeah, because, you know, Fluttermane barely counts as a resist. Let's be real here. It's got 55 defense. That barely
Yeah,
counts as a resist.
it barely got 35 defense, 55 HP. It resists when you Terra. Like when you Terra, it resists.
Yeah.
It's
And even then, it's like a clean 2-hit KO.
It's a clean 2-shot. It's a clean
So-
2-shot for sure. And if the Urshifu's Choice Banded, forget about it. Forget about it. It's gone.
Yep, that Terra Dark,
Terra Dark.
Band, Wicked Blow.
Nope, it's gonna take you out.
Things go boom.
Yeah. Go boom. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it makes me miss the Sword and Shield animation for Wicked Blow, because like I feel like everything kind of got scaled back a little bit in Scarlet Violet when like we've got the free moving camera in the overworld, so it can't be
Yeah,
like
for
too
sure.
crazy. But now we've got the smaller animations, and it makes me miss the really dramatic, like smashing the camera kind of attack from
Yeah.
we've got team sheets.
Oh, team sheets. All right. So first match we have Logan Martinez versus Kerry Dortana. Kerry made top cut last Premier Challenge, and that was his second tournament ever. So this is his third. Let's see if he makes top cut again. Big hopes for him. Kerry's running. Wow, this is very similar to what he was using last time. If anyone remembers last time, he used Gouging Fire. Last time, he did not put Burning Bulwark on it and put Protect. This time, he made
got
the
the
right
Burning
decision.
Bulwark
He
now.
got the Burning Bulwark now.
He's got that Burning
He's
Bulwark.
definitely learned from last time, and you know that's
Yeah.
just what experience brings you in these types of situations.
Yep, for sure. We've got and on the other side we have a very throwback team, a team that is a throwback to an older format with the Chenpao Dragapult and the Iron Hand.
Was that NAIC or LAIC?
That was World. That was NAIC and Worlds.
I was just remember it was the winner of one of them.
It
was
won
one
NAIC, and
yeah.
I got second place
At
at
Worlds,
Worlds that year as well. So it's a proven archetype. It hasn't done very well in this recent format, probably because of the reintroduction of Urshifu Single Strike.
Mhm.
But
And also because of Fergraf coming up all of a sudden, like I've been saying, it's been coming up way more than it has.
yep, blocks that sucker punch.
But you know, even Logan knows how good Fergraf is. He brought Fergraf on his team. With a safety goggles and not the throat spray like we've been seeing lately.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the safety goggles is I feel like it's the safer option. The safety goggles is probably safer than throat spray.
Yeah, the safer option
Well,
for the safety goggles.
no, it's
Yeah.
just no. I just think that like the throat.
It's a pretty solid item to use. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But the throat spray, it lets you. Trying to exchange team sheets. The throat spray lets you go on the offensive a whole lot more, but the safety goggles let you slow down your opponent trying to slow you down as well. So I
Yeah.
think it's not going to come up here because there's no Amoonguss to slow down, but it does have the benefit. It's going to have the benefits elsewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Logan also has an Amoonguss on his team, and Kerry on his King Gambit. We see a safety goggles, and usually between King Gambit, you see a safety goggles or black glasses. I'm personally enjoyer of that black glasses.
That damage. is
That
nothing to
damage.
scoff at.
That damage.
Yeah.
But safety goggles is still a really good option. You're able to avoid a spore or rage powder. And looking at Carey's team, half of his team is immune to these powder moves from Amoonguss, so I don't anticipate much Amoonguss play. And here we have Carey's team up for everyone to see. We have Terra Dragon, King Gambit, you know, pretty good against that Fire Water Grass that opponents usually have. We have Ting Lu, which, you know, hasn't been getting as much traction as it did back in Regulation C, but still a really solid Pokemon all around.
And the Terra Blast, Terra Fairy, I believe that's a new thing.
That's
a very
interesting.
New thing.
That's very interesting. I'm usually used to seeing Terra Poison and no Terra Blast.
Maybe a Fissure.
Oh, a Fissure, you know the good old days of Fissure.
The good old days that might be a reach. But
but of course we have Fluttermane, the crazy Pokemon, and now we're looking at Logan's team, Terra Grass Incineroar with Assault Vest. Now, if anyone was there for Brady's team last Premier Challenge, he won that Premier Challenge. He had the Assault Vest and Terra Grass. Perhaps this is like some addition of that, but look at the Iron Hands.
Clear Amulet Swords Dance. Let's go, boys.
Yep, the Clear Amulet Swords Dance. There we go. But no detect like we've seen in the past.
Yeah,
but
I'm thinking of the second place Charlotte team with Nicholas Donnelly, I believe his name is, and he ran close combat. As opposed to
I've been thinking of using Iron Hands Clear Amulet again recently. It looks so good right now in my opinion. It's a really solid thing in general.
It's a very good on paper, Mom.
Oh, for sure. That seems backhanded. Very good on paper. It's very hard to use for sure.
Yes. It's because like we're so used to the Assault Vest bulk on it.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
That switching off of that item is all of a sudden like my Iron Hands calcs are now all of a sudden just
they're all
different
for sure.
They're all dead. They're all gone. Goodbye.
But yeah, it's Iron Hands in general is an all-around solid Pokemon to use. It's just not something we see as much recently because of that. Oh, that lovely Incineroar.
Yeah, Incineroar. I do want to go back to the Amoonguss for a moment because we do agree that it's probably not going to make a huge impact here, but it does not have Protect.
It doesn't have Protect.
No, it does not have Protect. It's becoming more common, this Sludge Bomb over Protect, and I think that this is just another not an advantage, but another advancement of the meta. It's just bringing up. It's trying to help counter the Ogerpon Wellspring. It's trying to take care of these grass types that are becoming more and more common, and Sludge Bomb is just going to hit harder than Pollen Puff is. And the Poison Bug coverage is kind of handy. But, I mean, it also helps hits Fairy types. So,
yeah.
Terra Poison Tinglu, maybe? I don't know if that ever comes. But I do fear if you're in an Amoonguss versus Tinglu endgame, that might be a problem for Amoonguss. But
well, not this Tinglu. This Fairy Tinglu. But to be fair, that Vessel of Ruin is it's gonna do most.
Yeah, it's gonna put in a lot of work.
For sure.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to be even more mean, this Tinglu has Snarl, you know, and Assault. Yeah, I don't think a 1v1 with Amoonguss is gonna be a problem for this Tinglu.
Yeah, I do see as we go through this, that Carey's team is very physical. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 physical attackers, and his opponent
team was very physical too. But you know, we are in a very physical heavy meta for sure. Fluttermane, of course, best special attacker.
Fluttermane being the exception.
Fluttermane being the exception because Fluttermane is just
it's
amazing. It's amazing.
Fluttermane do be going.
Let's be honest. If you want to win, you use Fluttermane. Like there are some exceptions, of course, but Fluttermane is amazing.
Fluttermane is ballin'.
It's balling for sure.
And it's been balling out since it got introduced all the way back in Regulation B. Hasn't slowed down yet.
All right, and now we should be getting into the first match very shortly. Game 1.
Just waiting for it to pop up. Here we go, boys. Logan Martinez
Game
versus
1.
Carey. I forgot his last name.
Dorsey.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
All right, boys.
Getting into Game 1, Round 1 at Cool Stuff Games Maitland Premier Challenge.
We see Dragapult Farigiraf versus Tinglu and Rillaboom.
Very interesting starts from both. They're definitely not, like, I wouldn't say they're crazy different starts, but, like, they're definitely not the conventional start. Usually you'd see a Chien-Pao start with Dragapult. Oh, already thinking of this Terra Fairy. Already.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing here is the Farigiraf prevents the fake out here. Not that it would have worked against the Dragapult anyway, but it prevents the fake out, it prevents the Grassy Glide. This Rillaboom is all of a sudden, again, feels like the slowest thing on the field.
Yeah, it's otherwise it has like 2 different priority moves, but in this case, it's got its one.
Yeah, we see the Terra coming out.
On that Terra Fairy, that thing we've been thinking it's an interesting.
It's an interesting adjustment for sure.
Interesting adjustment to say the least. But let's see how it does. If Logan Terra Ghost, I wonder if it'll live this. Oh,
Never mind. We've just seen the helping hand come
helping hand come out first thing. What's it gonna do?
out.
A U-turn.
Oh!
Wow! One shot.
One hit KO.
One shot. Helping hand U-turn. Let's be honest though. There was no chance that wasn't KOing. It's helping hand, choice band. That's super effective.
And now we get to see something else come in to take this.
It's just.
Now we get to see something else to come in to take this Terra Blast.
What are we seeing? Oh,
Iron
the Terra
Hands.
Blast is coming from the into the Iron Hands. That's still super effective damage.
But it
How
couldn't take it a whole
much
lot
is
better
it
than the
doing?
Dragapult.
Wow, that's still a lot of. That's still a lot of.
Crit.
Oh, a crit. Okay,
Critical
I was
hit.
like, that's a
That's a
lot of damage, but a critical hit does make more sense.
We see that we see the critical hit coming out, and that all of a sudden this turn that was looking super good is all of a sudden flipped on its head because you've lost so much HP on your Iron Hands, and your Iron Hands like it feels kind
Here
of
comes out the Flutter Mane. Like I said, if you want to win, you use Flutter Mane.
Yep. Well, the Iron Hands is just in a very interesting position right now because it's not healthy anymore. It's not healthy anymore. It doesn't put on nearly the pressure that it should be putting out. Even without the Assault Vest, it might have been able to take a hit. Here's that fake out coming out into the Tinglu,
Yeah,
preventing it from
pretty solid
moving.
fake out shot.
But the Dazzling Gleam comes out, takes out the Iron Hand. and
Tickles the Farigiraf though. Got the crit on the wrong Pokemon.
we see another crit coming out. I don't think that one mattered.
No, but yeah, it got on the wrong thing. It should have been on the Farigiraf.
A little bit of damage here.
Just a little tickle. A little tickle onto the Flutter Mane.
Just a little bit of damage here. This is a very interesting spot because both teams are down a Mon. There's no more way to reset this grassy terrain. So there's no more benefit. There's gonna be no more benefits coming out from this slot. We see the Dragapult coming back in.
See, the Terra is still an option on Logan's side, and honestly, Terra Ghost would destroy the Terra Ghost Terra Blast would destroy this Flutter Mane. Probably almost anything that comes in.
Yeah, there's not a clean switch. I don't believe there's a clean
There's
switch.
not really a clean switch in this situation.
Yeah.
Not at all. I just think Logan, although they have an even amount of Pokemon, even amount of health, I just think Logan's in such an advantageous position.
Yeah, because he still has this offensive Terra in his back pocket that he can just
Exactly.
start blowing things up, and the priority blocking means that there's nothing that can come out that can really there's nothing that can threaten this Dragapult before it can move.
And you know, Dragapult's one of the fastest Pokemon in the meta.
Yep, and here comes the Terra. That's what we're
Terra,
talking about.
just like we were talking about Terra Ghost. Terra Ghost Terra Blast. I anticipate that being a pretty good move option.
Yep. I would not be surprised to see the helping hand come out again from this Farigiraf. It does not.
It does not. Oh, what?
That's
the Flutter Mane is faster?
And we see a Phantom Force come
That's
out. Not
very
a Terra Blast.
interesting.
That's
Okay, well, the Flutter Mane being faster is very interesting information to see. That's not something you usually see a timid Dragapult, but this one might be an adamant variation.
We see the special attack drop. That might. I don't know how much that's going to do, given we have not seen much damage come out from this Farigiraf yet. But it could come in. It could come into a play down the line. But
For sure.
I'm interested to see where this where is this Phantom Force going? Because if it's going into the Flutter Mane, it's gone. It's goodbye. But if it goes into this Tinglu, that's still a lot of damage. That's gonna drop
we
into this block.
see the Flutter Mane picking up the KO on the Farigiraf, even if the Phantom Force is going. Oh, it's going after
It
the
goes to Tinglu, and
Tinglu.
that does almost 50%.
Tinglu, known to be very bulky. Terra Blast coming in. How much damage is this going to do?
Not a KO.
Barely
Barely
hanging on.
But this Pokemon is not in a safe spot. It's not faster than this Flutter Mane. This Flutter Mane is just going to be able to pick it up from where it's at.
I think if Qianpao comes in though, a sucker punch and and a Fan Force kid.
Oh,
Oh,
here
yeah,
it comes.
Shinbao.
Here comes the Shin
This
Pao.
is a very, I think this is a very good position for Logan. Even though he's in the back wall, it definitely is a pretty even
Here
decision.
we go. Here's the Sucker Punch. Does it KO?
It does KO with that Sword of Rune boost and that stab damage. It's just too good of a position for Logan. And then a Phantom Force coming out. Logan just looks like he's in a pretty comfortable spot.
Terra
If
Blast comes out. Should bring this Shin Pao down to Sash. I would be very surprised if it doesn't.
Well, either way, it's gonna
gonna
yeah.
survive.
There you go.
It's going to survive thanks to that Focus Sash. No secondary effect to take it away. And we're going to be able to see Carrie's last Pokemon here. I don't know if this is like we've been saying, Logan is in a fairly good spot here. I don't know if this last Pokemon can turn the tides. We see that it's the Ogerpon
It is
Wellspring.
the Ogerpon. Okay. Ogerpon is probably one of the better Pokemon for Carrie to have, but I don't think it's a very defining thing for him right now.
I think what has to happen is this Tinglu has to survive this turn.
Oh wait,
Because
but the thing is, the
because-
Sword of Ruin is up. I just don't imagine it working out too well.
Well, no, the thing is that the Snarl, he's got the Snarl, and the Snarl can pick up a double KO here. So this Tinglu has to survive this turn.
For sure.
And if Ogerpon can buy it one attack, I think that can clean this game up for Carrie.
Oh, for sure. Oh, the follow me!
Yeah, there
I
comes-
completely forgot about
Yeah,
that
here
one.
here comes the Follow Me.
Sucker Punch. Ooh, yeah, that Snarl looks like it might be taking the win.
Phantom Force comes out.
Yep.
Okos, but I don't think that's going to matter.
Yeah, that Snarl is going to take them both out unless it misses.
Unless it misses.
It-
That's not
that
Casper
fight-
Curse. No Casper
No
Curse
Casper
here.
Curse. No. Oh, and
Double
listen,
KO.
We,
Double KO. Carrie is going to take game one.
we were very confused about Tinglu being Terra Fairy, but it definitely put in its work.
Yeah,
It-
I was interested to see what it would do in this situation because again, there's so many physical attacks on Logan that there's not a lot to slow down from this Tinglu. Feels like it's only slowing down your own Flutter Mane. But we saw its benefit here from just as an offensive piece. It doesn't
And
rely
that
on
Terra Fairy Terra Blast did do more than we expected.
it did a lot.
It was definitely a tough game one for Carrie, but it's all in all, he pulled it out, and one more win, and he's starting off 1-0.
Yep, I want to see what the adjustment Logan makes in this going into this next game because parts of that worked, right? We saw the Dragapult work. We saw that the Iron Hands didn't do a whole lot. We saw the Farigiraf was helpful with the Helping Hand. I want to see the Incineroar come out.
You want to see the Incineroar come out?
Because the biggest problem in that last game was this Tinglu, and it was doing so much. So what you need to do is you need to slow that down, and if the best way to do that is to use this Incineroar, then I think the Incineroar needs to come out for Logan.
For sure. I just think the only thing that's stopping Logan from doing that is the fear of the King Gambit, for sure.
Right.
But in general,
You have the Iron Hands, though.
I do think that I just do think Incineroar would be great right now. I just really think
Incineroar, it's a gutsy bring. It is certainly a gutsy bring to try and bring this Incineroar into the
It's making a
Defiant.
call that your opponent won't bring the Defiant King Gambit because I'm a huge supporter of that not King Gambit. Defiant is one of the best abilities in the game. It's a
Absolutely.
pretty solid ability.
It's the only reason Ogerpon base is used at all
Oh,
because
for sure.
Defiant is so good.
Well, I want to say that. I think its speed boost is very solid.
Yes, but in general, it's
It's
a lot of
Defiant
its benefit
abilities.
comes from Defiant.
Oh, for sure. Defiant is a crazy good ability.
Yep. So I think the positioning comes down to Iron Hands and Incineroar because, like we've said, the King Gambit is a very scary bring if you bring this Incineroar. So, like we were talking earlier, we were talking behind the scenes a little bit. It comes down to jostling for position between this King Gambit and this Iron Hands. This is a throwback all the way back to Regulation B. And
Yep,
we're about to
it's-
get into Game 2 of Round 1 versus Carrie and Logan. I'm looking forward to it.
So here's the thing. Now we gotta see if the Incineroar was brought or if the King Gambit was brought. It's just like really, it's really just calling someone's bluff here. It's one of the biggest things when having a Pokemon with Defiant against a Pokemon with Intimidate.
Yep, absolutely. We see Iron Hands Farigiraf against Fluttermane and Rillaboom. We see this Iron Hands on lead. That is one thing that I think that could be beneficial here because it means it gets to Terra immediately. This Iron Hands is Terra Grass. It means it can Terra out of this weakness. It can Terra out. It can Terra into resistance to this Rillaboom. And there is no fake out. There's no fake out pressure from this Rillaboom because of this Farigiraf.
Not at all. And this time, at least, Fluttermane's not being held back.
No.
Fluttermane's not being held back by Tinglu at all.
is just going to go and be able to blow stuff up, and we see this Terra Fairy.
Terra Fairy from the Fluttermane, and I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a Terra Grass from this clear Amulet Iron Hands.
It's not taking this Dazzling Gleam if it doesn't Terra right here.
Yeah, it needs the Terra Grass.
And we see the Terra coming out from Logan.
Is it on to that Iron Hands? I would be surprised if it wasn't. It
There's
is.
the Iron Hands coming out. Terra Grass, like we've said. This is going to be, like we've seen pivotal early turns and flip around. This is still a very pivotal early turn. How much damage is this Iron Hands going to take on this turn 1?
It's definitely gonna be. It's definitely gonna be.
Oh, another
that's
crit.
Very solid damage coming from Carrie. Oh wow.
That's a lot of damage onto that Iron Hands. If
For
it went for
sure.
Swords Dance,
Oh, that's.
well, there's one
and then
move that can turn this around. There's
if
exactly
there's-
one
if
move
there's
that
a
can turn
Trick
this
Room-
around. And here we
There
go.
we go. Trick Room, Trick Room, Swords Dance, Iron Hands. Wow.
And we see the Iron Hands is the fastest thing in this Trick Room here. So I am not surprised. I would not be surprised to see if this Iron Hands just blows something up right here, right now.
For sure. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, we have the Helping Hand as well in the Farigiraf. So despite Carrie having a huge advantage in health points right now, I think that if this Iron Hands can take a KO here with Drain Punch, as we see the Helping Hand come out.
just guaranteeing a KO.
Yeah,
I think this might be even a bit overkill. Not
Drain
gonna lie.
Punch, here we
Oh,
go.
Drain Punch.
And an Oko into that Rillaboom.
One hit KO going into that Rillaboom. Getting a lot of good health back, so this Dazzling Gleam still isn't gonna KO.
It's not going to KO this Iron Hands. The one thing it does do is it KOs the Farigiraf Helping
Oh,
Hand
it's
support.
definitely gonna take out the Helping Hand support. But you know, if say you brought out something like Qianbao, then it's like you're still getting that boost, and you might get like some Sucker Punch damages.
Yeah,
Like,
it is. There is still a way out here for Logan. It looks it's a little precarious, but there is still a way out for Logan. There is still a way out for Logan. We're gonna see Logan summoning out a new Pokemon. It is that
The
Amoonguss.
I think Amoonguss is a very solid Pokemon to bring into this position. And who are we seeing from Carrie? We're seeing that Ogerpon. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, we know this Floodmane is choice specs. We know it's gonna be locked into Dazzling Gleam. So I'm curious to see what this Amoonguss does. If it goes for Spore, that's a very risky play here because of this Ogerpon. If it goes for Pollen Puff, if it tries to side Pollen Puff, again, this Ogerpon can just follow me away that attack, and this Floodmane could pick up an
I
easy
do
KO.
think in general this Drain Punch will do so much damage that it'll
It
have.
might survive.
Yeah.
Oh, we see the Spiky Shield.
Did that Drain Punch go into?
Does that- is that the Drain
that's
Punch?
Good, that's good coverage in
Side,
general.
yeah, side Pollen Puff. We're going to heal up. It will take a Dazzling Gleam now, but I'm curious to see where this attack goes. It is a Drain Punch
It is into a Drain
the
Punch
Spiky
into
Shield.
that Ogerpon. And so that's going to be some damage taken away. Not a lot, though.
And
And
we're
this
gonna
Dazzling Gleam, not going to do much against that Amoonguss. But it is going to do a cycle chunk.
This Iron Hands, I feel like it has ended every single turn on about that amount of HP.
Yes, every single time, without fail. Without fail.
It's healing up a little bit thanks to this grassy terrain, but it's still in a very precarious position. And again, if this Follow Me comes out, this Iron Hands is probably just going down.
Well, here's the thing, that Drain Punch though.
It's a close call, but like this Pollen Puff,
Pollen Puff, it'll make it so you get less.
yeah, it
health
gives
from Drain
gives you
Punch.
less HP.
But in general, you are that's like
Yeah,
what?
you're still an Iron Hands.
That's
it's
still
very
an Iron Hands. Yeah, it
just over half.
might be living.
It might be living. I think it's close.
I think it's definitely close. It's for sure close.
We see the Dazzling Gleam come out once again from
How
this
much is it
Fluttermane.
gonna do? Oh,
Iron Hands just barely hangs on.
Yep, barely hanging on.
One thing that I think is interesting here is that this Fluttermane has yet to be targeted.
Oh yeah, it's
It's still on full HP. It has yet to be targeted in front of this Iron Hands.
like
and
we were
Trick Room.
talking about before. Fluttermane usually you want to take out as soon as possible, but this Fluttermane. Listen, I don't want to say anything too crazy, but it's not too much of a threat for Logan right now.
Yeah, it's been putting in a lot of work keeping this Iron Hands in check, but it hasn't been doing anything past that.
I think in general, Logan's in a very good position. He's able to spore the it's
For the Gouging Fire,
And then-
gonna go night night.
what moves does this Iron Hands have for its election type?
It's got Thunder Punch.
Thunder
That
Punch.
is
Yeah,
an
that's
Oko
a
into the
one-hit
Fluttermane.
KO. Not surprised. The Sword Stance.
Fluttermane's defense is bad.
Yeah, it's a very bad defense. Even if you bulk it out a bit, it's not gonna do much.
We see the first sleep turn on this Gouging Fire, and
Logan still has a Pokemon in the back that
has yet
Carry
to be revealed.
has yet to be revealed.
And
It's
the Trick Room will end here. The grass will end as well, but I don't know if that's going to matter here because this Gouging Fire has to go on the
it
offensive.
has to sleep at least one turn.
Yeah, and it
Well-
has to go on the offensive here. There's no way to Burning. I don't think there's a turn you have to Burning Bulwark your way out of this,
Not really.
especially because it doesn't. We get the
Oh,
turn one
wake
wake up,
up.
and we get the
Heat
Heat
Crash.
Crash into this Iron
Ooh.
Hands. Oh,
What?
Iron Hands.
That
is
is
Iron Hands is
insane.
heavy.
That
Gouging
is
Fire takes about 50%.
insane.
Yeah, Gouging Fire is
Over-
going to take about 50% from
it's-
this Drain Punch.
That's insane.
That's a lot.
I think we're just
see
in
the
too
Fallen
good
Puff.
of a position.
That's a clutch survival from the Iron Hands. Fallen Puff
And
going to heal it well out of range
If
of
that
another one.
that Heat Crash does that little damage, I don't think it's gonna.
It's not going to pick
We're,
up.
we're,
from here.
we're not gonna pick up any KOs.
See the
It's-
Heat Crash come out into the Amoonguss this time. That does KO here. Amoonguss is not a very heavy Pokemon compared to Gouging Fire.
Not at all.
But I think we're about to see the end of Game 2.
It's
Drain Punch
Drain
into Gouging Fire.
yep.
2-hit KO. And we're bringing it to Logan brought it to a Game 3.
Game 3 in round 1 with two very good solid teams.
This Iron Hands almost has full HP again.
This Iron Hand. Listen, I was I was surprised about the clear Amulet Iron Hands, but it's just it's pretty good. It's a pretty
Yeah, I
it was a
think-
pretty good play for Logan.
Yeah, I think it's a good adaptation given how much Incineroar has popped back into the game. I think that the Swords Dance here was the pivot.
Swords.
Swords
That's-
Dance was the turning point of this game because it survived turn 1.
I would have been too scared of these Swords Dance because I would have been scared of a Moonblast and a U-turn. I just would have been terrified.
Yeah,
But-
but it hung on. I'm curious to see what because I'm curious to see what this game 2 what this game 3 looks like, purely because again like that was such a dominant game from Logan that it's hard to see where the adjustment could be going into this game 3. But if Carey makes the read of the same turn 1 and goes and like you said goes for that Moonblast U-turn, that could just take off this Iron Hands.
Oh,
and
yeah,
all of
for
a
sure.
sudden, you're in a much worse position because your main sweeper is gone, and the only Pokemon on this team that really abuses Trick Room is this Iron Hands. If you get this Dragapult in or this Shenpao
Well, I'd say
in,
Amoonguss gets that Spore advantage, but
right,
other
but
than that,
offensively,
for
there's
sure.
nothing that
For
really
sure.
abuses this Trick Room into this team.
especially because like here's the thing, like we were talking about earlier. You know, there's the King Gambit, there's the Rillaboom, and the Ogerpon are all immune to spores and rage powders. So it's like
It's a rough run.
it's definitely rough.
The one thing that does come into play here is this Dragapult is slower than this Flutter Mane. So if it comes down to Dragapult v Flutter Mane 1v1
That's
at
true.
the end, you want the Trick Room up.
that is very true.
And we're going into game
Game
3.
three. Seeing that
We see the same lead from Logan, same lead from Carey.
same lead as game 2. Do they have the same Pokemon in the back though is the question. So here's the thing, like I was saying, Moonblast U-turn I think is probably the best option. But it doesn't look
Ooh.
like we're getting that.
Ooh,
Looks
this is
like
also another play that makes sense from
it
another
does
play that
make
makes
sense
from Carey.
completely. It
Because
looks,
again, if you're making that same read that this Iron Hands is gonna tear grass, this Farigiraf can't resist either of these attacks.
it's this Farigiraf. It looks like it would go down from a Wood Hammer and a Moonblast. You can't get that Trick Room up. None of their Pokemon can take advantage of Trick Room. And if that Iron Hands goes for Swords Dance,
All of a sudden, you're in a that's a
then
rough
that
position.
that is a rough position.
You
to
see
be in.
the Iron Hands
Look,
tearing.
taking out that Terror Grass. Same first turn. It looks like it's going to be the same first turn from Logan. I don't imagine anything being too different.
But we see this Moonblast coming out into this
Coming out
Farigiraf.
into that Farigiraf.
That does well over 50%.
Well
Wood
over
Hammer.
half, and Woodhammer doesn't pick up the KO, and it does. That is very good for Carey, taking out that Trick Room. And does this? If that Iron Hands go for a Swords Dance,
It's an interesting slot. yeah.
it is definitely an interesting situation to be in.
So now now it comes down to what does Logan have in the back?
I think if Amoonguss came out, yes, that Rage Power doesn't work on the Rillaboom, but the Rillaboom doesn't threaten too much damage onto that Iron Hands.
And we see the Amoonguss come back out.
Yup, and that's. I think they're both in a pretty solid position. I wouldn't count either of these players out just yet.
Yeah, it's certainly an iffy position for both players, but it's not a bad position for either
Not
player
at all.
nonetheless. You still have boosted Iron Hands, and we saw last game, boosted Iron Hands can take a whole game by itself.
Oh yeah, it definitely can. So we're definitely in a, even though Logan is a whole Pokemon down, like I know Rillaboom still has some damage off of it, but realistically, it's in too good position to really consider too much.
Immediately, we see the reliable partner King Gambit hit the field. We were talking about this last time.
Yep.
This could be the adjustment. We
This
see the Rage
could be
Powder.
a very nice adjustment.
Not going to do anything this turn. We see the U-turn.
U-turn.
That's going to deal a good chunk of damage to the
Decent
Rillaboom.
duck, Yep. Oh, and here's the thing.
If you switch
This-
back into Flutter Mane, you're
not,
immune
not
to that
only
Drain Punch.
not only that, this Rillaboom, not this Rillaboom, this King Gambit, it's not affected by the Rage Powder in any way because
Yeah.
that safety goggles.
And there still is not a Terra burnt, so this King Gambit, there's the Drain Punch into the Flutter Mane, but this
Oh
King
wow! So a completely wasted turn for Logan.
Yeah, but King Gambit can still... King Gambit is not Terra Dark, it's Terra Dragon, so it can Terra out of this weakness. And it can Terra out of this weakness to this Iron Hands. It can put on a lot of pressure because it's not affected by this Rage Powder. I'm curious to see what can this King Gambit do on this turn.
I gotta say, I love Terry's nickname for it. For King Gambit, Wrath of Khan.
That's a good one.
It's definitely good.
We are seeing the Terra come out from Carry. Is it going to be onto this King Gambit, or is it going to be onto this Flutter Mane?
Flutter Mane for a lot more offensive pressure. Definitely a play.
I think so. Here's the question now: Does this Iron Hand survive this double up? Because we saw the Dazzling Gleam come out from this Flutter Mane, and the Sucker Punch comes out from the King Gambit.
Ooh.
That's a close one. Does Flutter Mane take out this Iron Hands?
This
If it,
Dazzling Gleam, how much does it do?
it takes
Wow, that's very
takes
that's
it
very
out.
important for you can see how happy
you
Carrie
can
is
see
with that
Carrie
one.
just
He is relieved by that KO. That was mandatory for his one.
yes.
That was
that's
definitely
that's a mandatory for this position. We're gonna see Logan's last Pokemon here. It's hard to see though. It's the
It's the
Incineroar.
Incineroar, and he's getting that Defiant boost just like I told you about.
Yeah.
It's like Defiant is one of the best abilities in the game.
It's a rough.
incredible.
This is suddenly a very rough position for Logan.
Oh yes, it's a very rough position. I don't see this Amoonguss doing too much in general right now because Carrie has all four of his Pokemon at almost full HP, no status done to any of them. King Gambit has a boost. It's like
Yeah,
it's just
there's no pressure coming out
there's
from Logan
no
this
pressure
turn,
coming out from,
especially because it's the Fake Out turn.
and so the Protect, the
Just to-
Fake Out's not gonna do anything, because
There's the Fake Out into the Protect.
and so what is this Amoonguss going to do? It's
Sludge
gonna
Bomb.
Sludge Bomb. Okay.
That's actually
That's
quite
pretty.
a bit of
That's
damage.
pretty solid damage.
And the
Oh,
poison.
and a poison.
Not out of it yet, but
Not out of it completely, but
backs
Carrie's
against the wall
still
here.
in just a very solid position. This is definitely it's a very cool game for me to be in right now.
Yeah, and
but
we
I
can-
think free Swords Dance and Fake Out right here. That's
Yeah.
it's-
And then there's nothing. And then at that point, it's no longer resisted hit into this Incineroar because it's +3. And I think that we've just got. I think Carrie could just very easily clean up this game with what he has
very
left.
very very well.
He hasn't even revealed his fourth Pokemon yet.
Exactly. It's just he just has 4 Pokemon. One of them is a bit more down, and one of them is about to be taken out. But honestly, I think that's just a free switch in for Carrie. I think that might be good for him.
Yeah, because now what you can do is you can bring in the Flutter Mane to just put down even more pressure into this Incineroar.
It just looks like it's
Grass
good.
is going to disappear. Or we can see this Ogerpon switch in for Carrie
for follow me.
for the follow me pressure.
Yeah, it's follow me is just in general such a good move. It works on both the grass types and everything else. It's or
We're just gonna see a double up into this Incineroar. Not very effective hit. Doesn't matter.
But
Goes
this
over
Ivy
50%.
Cudgel is
Ivy
gonna-
Cudgel. Goodbye,
that's
Incineroar.
just curtains for Logan. on
Amoonguss
this.
cannot pull it back on its own. He has no way. It has no way to reliably hit this King Gambit. Sludge Bomb's gonna come out. Still does over 50%. Another poison.
Wow. Okay.
Still not enough.
Logan's laughing to himself. He's like, it doesn't matter, but it's
Can I get that luck elsewhere in the turn? That's
like,
the question.
can I get that? He doesn't want the good luck now. He wants the good luck later. It's just, yeah, it's +3 King Gambit. Yeah,
Battle was
battle
canceled.
cancel. Logan sees the writing on the wall. It's just, it was just a super solid game for Carey to be in.
Absolutely. That was a masterful positioning because that, again, that turn one, these pivotal turn ones on all 3 games really shaped how the rest of the how the rest of the games played out, because we saw game 1 that Carey took advantage early because we saw that he took so much Logan took so much damage on that Iron Hands that he couldn't clean up the game from there.
His whole strategy revolved around that. His whole early game strategy revolved around that Iron Hands, and once your Iron Hands taken out before he can do any damage, your early game strategy's gone. Like,
Yeah,
it's
and then we had the
it's just super unfortunate to be in.
Yep, and we saw game 2 that when the Iron Hands was able to survive and get that +2 off, and it had its speed control,
Yep.
that it was able to just completely run away with the game.
Carey was just in. It was in a super solid position. Logan just had a super solid positioning. Game 2. Game 1 was definitely the closest between the two. It was between.
Yeah, it was very close down to the wire. in
The
that game one.
last turn follow me was definitely. It was pivotal to the entirety of the game.
Absolutely. And then we saw that game 3 again, being able to take out that Iron Hands turn 2. That was the deal sealer. That's what sealed the game. That's what sealed the game for Carey. That was a good game, boys.
Oh,
that was such a good game to watch.
It was a great round 1. I mean, if we get rounds like that for the rest of the tournament, I wouldn't be disappointed at all.
I'll be very happy with that.
I'd be very happy. Yeah, this is pretty solid start to the day.
Absolutely. I think we're going to cut away to a break now. Is that right? We're going to cut away to a break. We'll see you guys on the other side.